Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Armageddon. Today we're going to be featuring a Brawl deck with Iroh, Grand, Lotus as our commander, as part of our series of Brawl videos featuring commanders from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I featured the pre-constructed Grand Lotus Brawl deck in an earlier video, but this version is packing more lessons, so I hope it is more synergistic. Iroh, Grand Lotus has Firebending 2, which means that he adds 2 red mana when he attacks, which can help us ramp out some of our instants. This mana goes away at the end of combat, however, so we have to make use of it during combat. More importantly, Iroh lets us flash back instants and sorceries from our graveyard, and if those instants and sorceries are lessons, they only cost 1 generic mana to cast while the Grand Lotus is in play. The benefit of playing Brawl is that we also get to play the lessons from Strixhaven, which I hardly ever put in my Brawl decks because there is no sideboard to put your lessons into in Brawl, which was the point of having lessons in Strixhaven. In Avatar, however, you want all the lessons in your main deck. All of the instants and sorceries in this deck are lessons, to maximize the benefit of our commander's passive ability. While I usually make a point of mentioning if a card in one of my Brawl decks is from a set recently released on Arena, there are so many cards in this deck from the new Avatar sets that would take too much time, so I won't do what I normally do this time. Let's look at the deck now, starting with our mana acceleration. Grand, an all-star in Standard, lets us loot when she becomes tapped, either by attacking or through the new water-bending mechanic. She also gives all our non-creature spells a 1 mana discount, as long as we have at least 3 lessons in our graveyard, which means that if both Grand and our commander are in play at the same time, we can flash back our lessons for free. Seismic Sense doesn't actually ramp us per se, but it helps us hit our land drops, as do Aang's Journey and Environmental Sciences. Seismic Sense can also help us find creatures. Well, we are not playing any shrines, so we won't be kicking Aang's Journey. Meanwhile, Shared Roots puts an additional land onto the battlefield tapped. Hermetic Herbalist is a mana dork who can add 2 mana in any combination of colors to cast lessons, while Cycle of Renewal is great to cast with our commander's Firebending mana, letting us sacrifice a land to put 2 additional basic lands into play. Uncle Iroh has Firebending 1, and discounts our lessons, so if our commander is also in play, we can flash back our lessons for free. I'm not going to make a separate Brawl video for Uncle Iroh, because the strategy for such a deck would be almost identical to this deck's strategy, only worse because we would have fewer lessons to choose from. The Lion Turtle is a mana dork that can only attack or block as long as we have at least 3 lessons in our graveyard, while Elemental Teachings puts 2 additional lands into play tapped. We choose 4 lands when we cast the Teachings, and the opponent picks 2 of them to put in our graveyard. Next we have our Interaction and Protection. Boomerang Basics bounces any non-land permanent, and we draw a card if we bounce one of our own permanents. It is a sorcery, however, so we can't use it to protect a creature from removal. Octopus Form gives the creature target's hexproof while pumping and untapping it, while Firebending Lesson deals 2 damage to a creature, or it can be kicked to deal 5 damage instead. We can use Redirect Lightning to make the opponent's removal target one of their permanents, while Idle Quenchia is the quenchiest counterspell. Mercurial Transformation can be used to temporarily debuff an opposing creature, while Water Whip bounces any 2 creatures and draws a card. Combustion Technique gets better the more lessons are in a graveyard, and exiles the creature it kills, while Iroh's Demonstration can either deal 1 damage to all opposing creatures, or 4 damage to 1 opposing creature. Origin of Metal Bending can either protect a key creature from removal, or destroy an artifact or enchantment, while Start from Scratch can either deal 1 damage to any target or destroy an artifact. Containment Breach destroys an artifact or enchantment, and leaves behind a 1/1 pest token if the permanent destroyed was cheap, while Lost Days puts a creature or enchantment into its controller's library, either second from the top or on the bottom. Sokka's Haiku is a counterspell, the rules text of which is hilariously actually also a haiku. While Overwhelming Victory deals 5 damage to a creature and acts as a combat trick if it deals excess damage. We often won't cast Reckless Blaze, since it would destroy most of our creatures too, but it is good insurance in case the opponent's board gets out of control. While both Introduction to Annihilation and Zuko's exile various kinds of permanents, while giving the opponent card advantage in return. Finally, Whirlwind Technique lets us draw 2 and discard a card, while airbending up to 2 creatures. Next, we have our card advantage spells. Accumulate Wisdom can easily be enabled to effectively draw 3 cards, while Price of Freedom lets us draw a card while destroying an opposing artifact or land. Lessons from the Vine is a saga that lets us draw a card on the final chapter if there is a creature or lesson in our graveyard, while True Ancestry provides graveyard recursion and a clue token. Abandon Attachments lets us discard a card to draw 2, while Chakra Meditation returns an instant or sorcery from our graveyard to our hand and lets us loot whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, or straight up draw a card if there are at least 3 lessons in our graveyard. Teachings of the Archaics is situational, but it can be powerful if we can empty our hand quickly, while Solstice Revelations can potentially let us cast a spell for free, although in a 3-color deck this can be difficult to enable. Introduction to Prophecy lets us scry and then draw the best card out of our top 2, while Waterbending Lesson draws 3 cards, discarding 1 unless we can waterbend 2. Finally, Guru Pathik finds a lesson in the top 5 cards of our library and puts +1/+1 counters on our other creatures whenever we cast a lesson while he is in play. Our next category consists of miscellaneous lessons that are in the deck so that we have a critical mass of lessons, even though we don't make full use of them. Waterbender's Restoration can either protect the team from a sweeper or re-trigger enter abilities, while Boomy's Feast Lecture creates a food token and earthbends onto a land. The Art of Tea can be used as a combat trick, putting a +1/+1 counter on one of our creatures while making a food token, while How to Start a Riot can potentially win the game on the spot if we are attacking with enough creatures. Match the Odds makes an ally token that is bigger the more creatures the opponent controls, while Rockalanche earthbends equal to the number of forests we control. Expanded Anatomy puts 2 +1/+1 counters onto a creature and gives it Vigilance until end of turn, while Illuminate History provides card selection and makes a Spirit token if there are at least 7 cards in our graveyard. Earthbending Lesson earthbends for 4, while finally, Cracked Earth Technique earthbends for 3 twice while gaining 3 life. Our final category consists of our value creatures and win conditions. We get to Rummage when Sokka Bold Boomeranger enters, and Sokka picks up +1/+1 counters whenever we cast lessons, while Zhang Zhang the Deserter has Firebending 1 and has an Exhaust ability to pick up a +1/+1 counter and let us copy the next lesson we cast. Dragonfly Swarm's power gets higher the more non-creature spells are in our graveyard, and draws a card when it dies if we have at least 3 lessons in our graveyard, while Toph, Hard-Headed Teacher, lets us discard a card to return an instant or sorcery from our graveyard to our hand, and earthbends for 1 anytime we cast a spell, putting an additional +1/+1 counter on that land if the spell is a lesson. Ran and Shaw make a token copy of themselves if there are at least 3 dragons or lessons in our graveyard, and can use their firebending mana either to cast spells or to activate their fire-breathing ability. Elemental Summoning makes a 4/4 elemental token, while Serpent of the Pass can sometimes be cast for as little as 2 blue mana, and can be flashed in if there are enough lessons in our graveyard. Mascot Exhibition creates 3 different creature tokens, while finally, Fractal Summoning can create a fractal token that, like a Hydra, has more +1/+1 counters on it the more mana we spend to cast the spell. We're playing plenty of basic lands to go with our ramp spells, but we still have plenty of dual lands and all of the relevant fetch lands. As a 3-color deck, we don't have much room for utility lands, but we still have Agna Kela to provide card selection, Boseiju Who Endures, which can be channeled for additional interaction, Hall of Oracles, which can put a +1/+1 counter on a creature if we have cast an instant or sorcery, and White Lotus Hideout to fix our colors for lesson spells. So that's our Iroh Grand Lotus deck. Now it's time to take it into the queue and play some games. On the draw, can't actually cast Sokka on 2. I think this is still keepable. I can Boomies Feast Lecture on 2, Sokka on 3, discard Mascot Exhibition Transformation. Containment Breach. There's Katara. Alright, land is good. Wouldn't mind drawing removal for Katara. We'll take 4. Let's see, I think... Let's get... Reading Pool. And hold up Octopus form. And then... Land would be a good draw. I've got 4 lessons in the graveyard, so... Seek New Knowledge, or whatever it's called, would be good. I can use Octopus form as a combat trick. Alright, land is good. You're incentivized to cast How to Start a Riot first main to give a creature menace. I think I'll save it as a combat trick. And I've got Octopus form up. Alright. Alright, I can tap the food token for waterbending. And I think let's hold Sokka back for now. Opponent's been missing land drops. So they're currently unable to replay Katara. Water Tribe Rallier. And let's get Commercial District here. And then I've got land, so I think we can ditch Catacombs. Fractal Summoning. Is there anything, a lesson I can flash back that would be good here? Not really. So I think I'd rather Whirlwind Technique, Bounce, Rallier, and Sokka. And then I think I'll discard Containment Breach. Opponent replays Sokka. And Rallier. Stays back. Alright, and then I think I play Iroh. And I'll have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can cast 2 spells, so I can bounce creatures with Whirlwind Technique and give Sokka Menace. And that's enough for opponents. Alright. On we go. On the play, I've got ramp, I've got some interaction. I think this is keepable. And I'm not looking for anything in particular, so I think I'll fetch Trione here. Firebending Lesson. Alright. Don't have anything to do, so I guess I'll just play Surveil Land. Iroh's Demonstration. Doesn't answer Kenrith. I think I'll put it in the bin for a combustion technique. Looks like opponent can do something, but they don't. Sword of Fire and Ice. I guess we can Containment Breach that. And then I kind of want to wait to play Iroh until I can... What protection is that? White and blue. Alright, well that doesn't protect against my red removal. I could also exile that with Zuko's exile. And I think I will, even though it would be more mana efficient to play Iroh, because I want to be able to play Iroh and cast a lesson, flashback a lesson from my graveyard as soon as I play Iroh. So I think I'll exile the sword with Zuko's exile here, which can exile enchantments. I mean artifacts. Opponent really going in for those swords. And then let's flash back Shared Roots. Because I don't need to remove anything right yet. And casting Shared Roots will make it easier to replay Iroh if opponents got removal for him. Let's main phase. I don't want to cast a lesson from my graveyard. So I think we main phase, accumulate wisdom, look for land. Alright, let's... I was going to wait until I attacked with Iroh to play Abandoned Attachments and use the Firebending mana, but let's cast it now to draw a card off Chakra Meditation. Actually, hang on, let's wait until I get the Firebending mana. And then let's accumulate wisdom with the other firebending mana. I could cast Leaves from the Vine, but I think I want to hold up Combustion Technique. There's Kenrith. I think even though I'm not going to get any counters, I think we match the odds. And that's enough for opponent. Alright. We'll take it. On we go. On the play. Not the most exciting. Not sure how good Start from Scratch is going to be, but I don't think this is so bad that I want to mulligan. I've got Gurupathic to help me find more lessons. Hedge Mage can help me find land 4. We'll try it. And then I think we'll fetch first. And then, while I usually like to get my Triumph first, I think I'll get Surveil Land. Let's get Commercial District. Dig for land 4, or enchantment removal. Alright, I'll keep that. Just play another tap land. I think that's fine. We only have 3 lessons right now, but another threat's not bad. Feels pretty underwhelming to deal 1 damage to opponent, so even though we're not doing anything, I think we pass. If opponent had played Ramp Artifact or like a Mana Elf, that would have been good. Looks like they're not going to do anything until they play their commander. Let's play Gurupathic. Opponent with all basic lands so far. Wouldn't mind drawing land. Alright. That actually helps, because now I can play Serpent of the Pass at instant speed even, because they milled a lesson. Everyone's got their own Guru Pathak. This is Dress is kind of annoying, but it doesn't take Serpent to the Pass. And honestly, I mean, losing Waterbending Lesson would be pretty annoying, but there's no spell that I'm really disappointed if they take. And it just discounts Serpent even further. That's what I figured they'd take. Land would have been nice. Alright, we draw land anyway. I can play Uncle Iroh and How to Start a Riot. And I think I do this main phase. And what to give Menace to? Serpent, I guess? I guess I can kill both of them. I don't know why they didn't play Johnny's Welcome before replaying Hey Bye. All of Oracles, not very good. Although that does allow me to play Iroh. And with both Iroh, Grand Lotus, and Uncle Iroh, I can cast my lessons for free from the graveyard. So what do I want to get back? Not sure. Let's wait to play How to Start Red until next turn when I can attack with Grand Lotus. Bad this isn't an instant. And then I can Water Bend, tapping Uncle Iroh and Grand Lotus for the Water Bend too. The opponent can replay Heibai here. Alright, that Goshin tie is pretty big. Let's see, if I bounce Goshin tie with Boomerang Basics, do I have lethal? Let's see. Bureaupathic's going to put a counter. I play How to Start a Riot. I get 2 counters, so that's 6, 13, 17. Yes. And there we go. Alright. So this game showcased how powerful it is to have both Uncle Iroh and Grand Lotus in play. On we go. On the play, don't want to cast Seismic Sense turn 1, because I'll only be looking at the top card. I think Price of Freedom could be good to get rid of a ramp artifact. Reckless Blaze might not be. I might not get to 5 mana in time to remove Vivi with it. I think we can do better. Alright, I don't want to go down to 6 on the play. I've got abandoned attachments to help dig for more lands. But I have to say, if I'd known this is what I was going to mulligan into, I would have kept my opening hand. Alright, draw a land, that's good. Don't want to play Leaves from the Vine without any creatures. Can't cast Dragonfly Swarm. Alright, I think we discard Transformation. Combustion deals with EV. I don't really want to play Leaves from the Vine without having at least one creature. I think we'll leave it for now. Alright, land is good. Let's fetch Steam Vents. We'll take 3. And I think even though it's going to... Well, I guess I can fetch Basic Mountain. And then I think we want to get rid of BV now. And then we'll hold up Art of Tea and hope to ambush one of opponent's creatures. I guess we'll ambush the angler here. I think we can afford to get aggressive here. And then hope to draw land for whirlwind technique. Opponent not likely to have. Alright, so really want to hit land for whirlwind technique. And we do. I could also play Iroh. I guess I should have. I can whirlwind technique at instant speed, but I should do that before damage, so I Dragonfly Swarm. And then I think we bounce the non-token Sprite Dragon and Smoldering Egg. Opponent looks like they've disconnected. Alright. And land lets me play Iroh and recast a spell from my graveyard. And then what to cast? Could be Whirlwind Technique again. Bounce the token dragon this time. One's got Counterspell. Could be risky attacking. No, I guess we just die. Well, that's too bad. Better luck next time. On we go. On the play, facing the mirror match. I think this is keepable. I've got shared routes for ramp, seismic sense for land drops. Could use some earlier interaction than whirlwind technique. I think we can still try this. Zuko's exile. We'll get mountain with shared routes. Let's get untapped lands. And then do I leaves from the vine? I kind of want to wait till I have some creatures to get the benefit of the counters. But maybe it's okay just to play it here. So we can draw a card as soon as possible. Yeah, we're not going to get the most value out of it. It's not like we have a ton of creatures anyway. Alright. Bottoming Rain and Shaw and the Serpent's a bit unfortunate. Opponents got their own Gurupathic. They hit Quench. It'll quench ya. Alright. Opponent's tapped out. I can cast Zuko's Exile at instant speed. But I think let's do it main phase so I can activate Hall of Oracles. opponent taps out for Iroh. I can exile Iroh. Let's play Uncle Iroh. Alright. So thanks to our ramp, we managed to pull ahead, and we got just enough interaction to take over and prevent the opponent from going off with their Iroh. Alright, let's take a look at the deck. Alright, so that was our Iroh Grand Lotus deck. While it's important to have a critical mass of lessons, maybe a better build of this deck might be to have fewer of the clunkier Strixhaven lessons and more other cheap instants and sorceries that you can flash back that are more powerful with Iroh, because he's still good even if you're not flashing back lessons. Because certainly there are some lessons that I included to ensure I had a critical mass that aren't the most powerful, like Mercurial Transformation, which I just cut, or Rock Lanch, that kind of thing. So you could have hands with lessons in them that don't really do very much. So that's something to consider. But certainly, Avatar introduced a whole bunch of new powerful lessons, like Accumulate Wisdom, or Firebending Lesson, or Redirect Lightning. So you certainly want to play with the new lessons from Avatar in an Iroh Grand Lotus deck. Anyway, so that'll do it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Do please like and subscribe. If you'd like to see another Brawl Commander from Avatar or from another set, let me know in the comments. And have a good one. Bye.